What's going on, everybody? On YouTube, Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another live video. And today's going to be a really good video because, man, I was going through my brain and I was trying to think if I was a brand new seller, or maybe I've even been selling on eBay for 4, 5, 6 months, a year. And if I had to choose the top 5, I mean the worst, the stupidest possible things that maybe I've even done in the past because I didn't know better, or top 5 things that you just got to avoid doing, the biggest mistakes selling on eBay. I came up with them and I'm going to share them with you right now. So if you guys are excited to get into this eBay video, do me a big favor and go down below and just smash that like button because I'm pumped up to help you guys avoid making some really big mistakes selling on eBay. So without further ado, let's dive right into this video and then I'll go in and answer some comments from you guys. And I would also love to know, what do you believe to be the biggest mistake that beginners, intermediates, or even advanced sellers need to avoid while selling on eBay? So think about that, put it in the comment down below, but let me jump right into it. So these aren't in any particular order. I'm not saying the first one is worse than the fifth. They're all just bad. These are big mistakes you definitely do not want to make. So let's dive right into the first one. Let me just make sure really quick that you can hear me. All right, sounds good. So mistake number 1 that you want to make sure that you're avoiding when selling on eBay. This goes to Amazon, this goes to Etsy, Poshmark, any of these platforms, but especially eBay. Make sure you are not selling fake items. I cannot say it enough. If you are not 100% sure that the item is real, do not sell it. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, Steve, how do I authenticate an item? When it comes to selling clothing, especially higher end designer brands, you need to make sure that they're real. So there's a couple different ways that you can do it. For me personally, I go over to Google and I type in Gucci handbag authenticate, or Ralph Lauren shirt authenticate, or Lacoste polo shirt. How do you authenticate? And there's a lot of really great posts by others before me who have created, articles kind of outlining what to look for. For example, maybe with the Lacoste items, you want to make sure that the crocodile logo is centered. You want to make sure that when you flip it from the inside out, the stitching is not all ripped apart. You want to make sure that the tag has a certain serial number on it if you're dealing with maybe a True Religion item. The same thing goes with the Ralph Lauren polo shirts. You want to make sure the logo is centered. You want to make sure the material is thick and quality. There's 1,000,001 different ways to authenticate. I'm not going to get into it in depth in this video, but just know the resources are out there. Facebook groups, Google, eBay has a lot of great resources for authenticating specific brands. But there's going to be brands out there that you're just going to have a bad feeling about. Something's going to look off. The material is going to feel funny. The tag's going to just look cheap, like it's tearing off. It's not damaged, but it just looks like it was made in China or something. And not all items that are made in China are fake. There's actually a lot of higher end brands that are actually made in China. So I don't want to put that out there and generalize, but you've got to do your research on certain brands. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes experience. But if you sell a fake item, you're going to first and foremost piss your customer off. You're probably going to get a return. You're probably going to get a negative feedback. And if they want to push things far enough and let eBay know, you might even get suspended or kicked off if it happens over and over again, especially if you purchased maybe a wholesale lot and you kind of got screwed over and you bought a bunch of fake items. You could get yourself into big trouble. So top number 1 thing that you want to make sure you're not doing is selling fake items. Number 2, this is a big mistake that a lot of sellers make, and that's not necessarily lying about the condition of an item, but over-exaggerating. You want to make sure when you sell an item on eBay that you are fully transparent in terms of the condition. Now, you don't have to necessarily go to tremendous depths to under-promise and over-deliver, but you want to be accurate in your assessment of the item. Is there a huge scratch going across the screen? Does the item not turn on? Is the video game having issues sometimes when you're playing it? Sometimes it doesn't work. Other times it does. You want to do the best you possibly can to be 100% transparent and honest about the condition of an item. I see a lot of new eBay sellers get in trouble because they kind of try to pull the wool over the eyes of the customer, and they hope and they keep their fingers crossed that they're not going to find the issue. Bottom line, when somebody's buying online, since they're not able to physically touch it in real life, when they get it, they're assessing that thing with an eagle's eye. They're going to find that issue. They're going to find that mistake. So be honest. Again, you don't have to go so crazy with the under promise, over delivery, but be as accurate as you possibly can, because it's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you negative feedback. It's going to save you returns. And it can even make you more money by having some of these customers have a great experience and buy from you again on eBay. So number one, make sure you're not selling fake items. And number two, be accurate with your description of the item. Do not lie and over exaggerate the condition. Number three, this is a big, big, big mistake that I see a lot of eBay sellers making. And where is it? Where's my notes? That's shipping late. Shipping late is a big, big no-no, right? I had a friend who, this was probably about a year and a half ago, one of my good friends, I helped him to get started selling on eBay, and he was doing a great job. He was sourcing items. He found himself a little niche, and he was doing really well. He was buying a bunch. He was selling a bunch, but he started to get in trouble. His seller reports, his seller dashboard wasn't looking so great because he kept shipping late. He was working a full-time job, and one thing led to another, where he was late one day, late another day. Another time, the post office kind of screwed him over because he dropped everything off, and then they never scanned it in, and then it gave him a negative or kind of negatively impacted his defect rate or whatever that. I forget what part that is in the dashboard where, it's the shipping time. You got to make sure you're shipping on time. Sometimes, big, big tip, when you drop your items off at USPS, make sure they scan it in. Sometimes they don't scan it in and they scan it too late, and then eBay counts it as the next day. That sucks. So that kind of happened to him a couple of times. He shipped late a couple of times, and he had lost his top-rated seller status. He was getting issues, canceled orders, so on and so forth. So make sure you're shipping on time. If you don't believe that you can ship every single day, then you can move it to, 2-day business, 2-day handling and shipping time if you want, or even 3-day. Now that could negatively impact you. You're probably not going to get as many sales, getting top rated seller status. I believe you got to do 1-day shipping. I think someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure about that, but try to go with the 1-day shipping. But if you know for a fact you can't handle it, don't promise 1-day shipping and then ship late. It's really going to have a negative impact on your account. So number one, selling fake items. Number two, lying about condition. Number three, shipping late. Fourth big mistake, 4th out of 5 top mistakes to avoid. You do not want to make this at all. This is a big, big, big no-no. And I'm going to be honest with you, because you guys know that I tell it how it is. Even if I do something really stupid, I'll admit it. When I was new, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I used to fight with customers. I would argue with them. And I remember there was one time, this guy was being a complete jack. You know what? He was being a big, big jerk. And he, I don't know, I sold him a Mitchell and Ness. I think it was an O.J. Simpson jersey. And I don't remember exactly what happened. There was an issue with the item, and he just came at me the wrong way. One thing you got to know about me is I'm a very, very nice guy. But if you come at me the wrong way, my natural reaction is just attack you. It's just the way I am. But it's like, I've gotten better over the years, obviously, or else my eBay business would be gone. But I didn't know any better, and I was new, and I was defensive, and I started fighting with him, and it just led to a whole bunch of nonsense with issues. And I don't want to get into all of it, but I made that mistake when I was new, and I learned over time, you cannot fight with the customers. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe they're being jerks, so on and so forth. But by you fighting with them, it's not going to accomplish anything, because a customer, they always think they're right. And regardless, they kind of are, because what are you going to do? eBay is always going to side with the buyer for the most part. And if you're fighting with them, you're just going to get negative feedback. They're going to just return the item. They can damage your item and send it back. They have all the control, right? They can get their money back easily from PayPal or eBay. So don't fight with the customers. You've got to be professional. And again, I was a bit immature, 4 or 5 years ago. And, like I said, we all have things that kind of get under our skin and tick us off. And one of my pet peeves, because I'm a very nice guy, and I, give people the benefit of the doubt, and I don't judge right off the bat. And when someone attacks me, like I said, sometimes it kind of ruffles my feathers. So I had to learn to kind of get over that and not take it personal. Right. So that was one of my, learning experiences. And I'm sure maybe some of you guys and gals could relate to that. But that was a big challenge for me, was dealing with the general public and how ruthless they can be at times through the eBay messenger system. So it is what it is right there. So to reiterate, number one, selling fake items, that's a no-no. Lying about the condition, number two, you do not want to do that. Number three, shipping late. You are going to get crushed on eBay if you do that. Do not ship late. Number four, don't be like me when I first got started in fighting with customers. That is not a good look. Your business is going to go down real quick if you do that. And number five, this is something I've never done before. I've heard about some people in the reselling community doing it, but this is something I would never do this. I think this is super, super unethical. But shill bidding. I don't know if you guys know what shill bidding is, but I'm going to read the definition in case you don't know what shill bidding. But shill bidding is when a seller uses a separate account, be it one of their own, a friend, or a family member's, or they ask someone to bid on their auction to artificially raise the price of the auction. In this case, the bids were placed and then retracted once they had reached my maximum bid level. So I've heard of people doing this before. Again, it's to try to increase your selling price through increased bids via auction. I don't really do auctions, so I've never really thought about doing that, even though I never would. It's super unethical, but I've heard of people doing it in the reselling community, and you definitely don't want to do that. If you ever get caught doing that, I'm sure eBay will kick you off immediately. So those are my top 5 worst mistakes you should avoid when you're selling on eBay. If you guys enjoyed this, do me a big favor and hit that like button. We got 80 people watching live right now. John and Pam are saying 79 in the chat and only 2 likes. It looks like we're up to 22 likes. We got to get those likes up. Rocky Brook is saying thumbs up. Eric says, great opportunity to learn, though. My worst customers have been complete learning experiences. That's it. And I'm being real with you. When I first got started, Eric, man, it was a little rough. I could deal with someone kind of being a jerk in real life, but like through the computer, and I don't know, it just worked me up when I first got started. But you can't take it personal. It's the way it is. It's your business, right? You're either going to make money or you're going to get upset. You got to pick one. John and Pam, I sent a sarcastic message to a buyer when I was new in the clothing sales. Yeah, I'm a very sarcastic guy. Using sarcasm when someone's angry is not a good move. I would not do that. So I'm going to get them even more angry. Hey, what's up, Mike Nunez? Good to see you. Lee Miller, Raiken today. That's right. Just got done listing some items on eBay. And if you guys are wondering, do I list through desktop or mobile? I've been using mobile. I didn't list any clothing today, or else I probably would list through the desktop. But yeah, just got done, sent out an Amazon FBA shipment, worked on a new Poshmark series that's coming to the YouTube channel soon. I only listed 5 items on eBay, and then I sent off an Amazon FBA shipment. Well, it's right behind me over there. Here's another big mistake. No 2Yo Flipper says overpricing. Yeah, I just made a video the other day. If you look up Raiken Profit, the wrong way to price on eBay, type that into YouTube. That's a really, really value-driven video. 5 or 6 years of experience boiled down into like a 10-minute video. Definitely check that out. But yeah, that's a big, big mistake. You want to make sure that you're doing proper research when you're pricing your items. A lot of people price their items wrong, and then their items don't sell. Another big mistake people make on eBay is they buy items that they like that nobody wants. You need to make sure to not only do your research when you're pricing your items, but you need to do your research before you buy your items to assure that there's a market for the items, right? All because you think it's cool doesn't matter. And even if it is cool and there is a market, is there value in that market? Are these items selling for enough money that you can actually turn a profit after your cost of goods to acquire the item, your shipping, your supplies, obviously, what was I going to say? PayPal fees, so on and so forth, right? So, you got to make sure you do your research. We got someone from Bulgaria in the house. Good to see ya. We got the Flippin' South. What up? DJ, how you doing? Nights required. Property of U.S. Postal Service. That is right. Good to see you, man. Here's a big mistake. The Heart Love Project says not listing measurements. Yeah, that's a really big mistake. that eBay clothing sellers make. Now, there's two schools of thought. Well, I guess there's two camps. There's the eBay clothing sellers who say, yeah, you got to include the measurements. And then there's the other camp that says it doesn't matter. It really doesn't make a big deal. I'm in the include the measurements camp. I know a couple really, really successful clothing sellers. I'm not going to drop any names, but they don't include measurements and they do well. And they say they don't have many issues. I don't get it. I would have an issue. I would never buy an item, a clothing item on eBay without measurements, because there's so many things that could go wrong with that item. It could have been shrunken in the dryer, or maybe it's not true to size for one reason or another, or I don't know. I would want measurements. Some people don't, but yeah, I mean, if you include measurements, you're going to make more sales because there's going to be people out there who only buy from people who use measurements, and you're going to get less returns because people are going to get what they wanted. John and Pam says, big mistake buying crap. Yeah, I kind of touched on that a couple of minutes ago. You've got to do your research before you buy your items. Joshua Davidson saying, wow, Steve, I think he's a little surprised by my behavior when I first started selling on eBay. Yeah, I'm surprised too. Oh, man, we got Fairfield, Connecticut in the room. I'm over in the Harford County, not too far away. Tom Hardy says, buy low, sell high. That is the motto. John and Pam has a question. If someone buys an item yesterday, what does that mean? Why does that mean it will sell again? Most resellers say that will sell because it's sold. The person has, I'm not sure what that question means. Maybe you want to rephrase that. Ways to take measurements. Well, it depends. You know, you're going to take additional measurements for certain clothing items. Like for a regular t-shirt, just going to do the chest and the length, right? Pit to pit from, to the top of the collar down to the hem. If it's a long sleeve, you're going to add in that sleeve measurement from the hem of from the hem to the shoulder seam. And then if you're doing like blazers and sport coats, you can do like the waist measurement across the button. You can do the shoulders from shoulder to shoulder. There's a bunch of different measurements. You know, pants, I like to do the waist and the inseam. If you're doing women's clothing, there's a bunch more measurements, but I don't really sell women's. I don't really know how to measure them, to be honest with you. Coin Roll Craig says, I was in Bloomfield CT today. Did you go to the Bloomfield Goodwill? Because that Goodwill is horrible. I never find anything over there. Now, I only go a couple times a month, but I rarely find anything. It's always so dry over there. Tom Hardy, Springfield, Mass. Awesome. Yeah, sometimes I'll go to the Savers. There's like those Savers that are close by, I think in Springfield or somewhere over there off the highway. I do well over there, but the prices have gone berserk. Yeah, they've definitely gone berserk over there. I used to crush it on half off days at Savers over in Springfield. Coinroll Craig says the Bloomfield Goodwill is terrible. I went there last week. Yeah, it is really, really bad. I don't know how they're in business. I don't think they're going to stay in business very long. It's not a great location either. It's decent. I don't know. They just never seem to have inventory there. Just looking through some of the comments. We got BRSRC in the house saying, I'm in Oregon, but my entire mom's side of the family lives in Hartford, like 60 family members. Wow. You got a lot of family over here. That's awesome. Better not teach them how to resell. Oh, man, we got Buffalo, Niagara Falls, New York in the house. Coinroll says prices in West Hartford Savers are way too high. That's like the name of the game at like all the thrift stores in Connecticut, right? The thrift store prices have gone freaking wacky over here in Connecticut. There's still plenty of opportunities, and that's why I love being a bookseller, because the books have been priced pretty. I mean, they're pretty decent. Like, let me put it this way: the books used to be around like $2 at Savers. Now they're up to $3.49, so they have like gone up significantly. But most of the books that I buy, like that I hit the home runs on, are selling for 40 or 50. So I really don't care if the books go from 2 to like 7 each, because it's just going to it's going to scare everybody away. Everyone's like, I'm not spending $7 on a book, but it's like your profits really aren't affected that much when you're selling books for 40 or 50. Now, obviously it hurts you because you're not able to sell those $15, $20 books as well anymore. But I'm not a full-time bookseller, so it doesn't really kill me. Plus I've been buying a ton of books online arbitrage using the eFlip software. So be sure to check out, if you type in Raiken Profit eFlip into YouTube, you can actually see, I show you firsthand. I was actually live with the CEO founder, Caleb Roth, the other day, showing you how I actually source books. And I think I've spent like $5,000 in the last like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm stocking up my books for textbook season in January. I'm not sure about advertising on Poshmark, but I know on Etsy, I have a friend who is absolutely crushing it. She actually creates handmade jewelry, and I was actually on our Etsy store running some ads for her, and I was looking through the analytics, and they convert like crazy. If you're selling at Etsy, definitely use the promoted listings. eBay, I haven't had a ton of success with promoted listings. I need to research it a little bit more. But definitely check out the channel. My channel, I have an interview October 29th. So that's Monday with Jason and Karen of the Thrifty Flamingo YouTube channel. So we're going to be talking a lot about Poshmark. They're full-time sellers. I think they're close to have done maybe like close to 6 figures, I think, on Poshmark. So definitely we'll ask them that question during that live show. Thrifty Fun Sales, what's up? You can live in a rural area and still do well. $500 in sales in the last week. Live in a small town of 2,500 people. So there you go. Thrifty Fun Sales making it happen. We got Grand Crusader in the house. What's up? I've never shipped LTL. I know that's what is that? It's the pallets, like shipping out a pallet. But I know Reezy Resells has some good videos on that. Anna's Cottage. Ooh, I like that. Double cottage. Just a quick hi to everyone in the chat. Good to see you, Anna. How are you? Best friend in your thread. That's a really cool name. Glad to have you here. Okay, here's a question. When shipping books on FBA, do you wait till you have a certain amount or do you send them as soon as possible? For example, is it worth it to send just one book or should I wait till I have more books? You're going to want to stack up, at least like 10 books if you're going to send it off, because if you send just one book, even if you're sending, like I'm in Connecticut, if I shipped off one book, it would probably be like $2 or $3 to New Jersey, even through the FBA program since it's subsidized. But, like for example, I just shipped off 7 books in a box. And you might be thinking, Steve, why are you only shipping 7 books? Each one of these books, I sourced them off of Amazon. So I bought them for $43 each. So I was in it for 40, 80, 120, 172. I was in it for about $300 for 7 books. Each book is 6.5 pounds. I think you can see it. It's right there. I just packaged that up. That box is almost like 48 pounds, and you can't go over 50 pounds. Used to be able to back in the day, and you could write team lift, but now you can't go over 50 pounds. So I've got 7 books in there. I paid $43 each. And I priced them to sell during the January textbook season. And I've got them priced at $109.99 each. And the sales rank's at like 10,000 right now. And I'm really confident. The Keepa chart looked great. But yeah, you want to stack up a couple books, because if you only send out one book, it could be $3 a book. But if you send out like 20 or 30 books, or even like 7, this came to $8.45. It was like $1 and like 20 cents a book. Usually I'll ship out like 20 or 30 books at a time, and it comes down to like 50 to 75 cents a book. So you definitely want to ship off, a decent amount. Anna says, Raiken Profits is my go-to American seller. Your videos are so bloody honest and helpful. Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate that. I'm here to help you guys as much as I can. DJ says, I did my first international sale, men's Gucci jeans for $100 shipping, paid $1 at Goodwill. Wow. Can anybody beat DJ? $1 for some Gucci jeans sold for $100. Whew. Talk about making that money. That is awesome. That is really, really cool. How many hours do you spend dealing with taxes? I don't really spend any time like on my books that much, like only a couple times a month, maybe like an hour a month, because I have a bookkeeper. Now it's not cheap. My bookkeeper is like $3.25 per month, but you got to understand, he's not only dealing with my inventory based businesses, eBay and Amazon, but he's also dealing with the drop shipping business, YouTube. I've got digital products. I've got a whole bunch of different things that are going on. So my tax situation is a little more complicated. especially when it comes to sales tax and stuff. So we use QuickBooks. Everything's already automatically linked up. So I've got my business and personal separated. So I've got my business bank account, business credit card. So everything's linked up. Like if I spend money on a certain credit card, it automatically links up with QuickBooks, and he knows how to categorize it and stuff. And the same with my income, it goes into a specific bank account that's only for business. So Mark says $325 a month for a bookkeeper is a bargain. I don't know. I feel like maybe I could get it cheaper, but he gives me a report every single month, a P&L report, which is really cool to see. So it's a profit and loss statement. Sold limbs 9 to 5 shoes for $79 on Poshmark. First sale, paid $1 at the Humane Society. I'm telling you, people are sleeping on Poshmark. You've got to wake up to Poshmark. I've got to wake up to Poshmark. I'm just so busy. I just haven't had a chance to get over there. I played around with it a little bit, but I don't really give much advice on Poshmark because I don't have a ton of knowledge with Poshmark. That's why I like to bring on my friends Jason and Karen, and they're going to be on the 29th. So fortunately, I can't really help you guys with Poshmark because I don't have a lot of experience and knowledge with it, but I've got a bunch of friends who are doing well with it. Jay Bell says, dude, you seem great. Much love. I am a new subscriber. Hey, thanks, Jay. What questions should I ask a bookkeeper before hiring them? The number one thing, I would just make sure, like, especially with like a bookkeeper or, I guess the bookkeeper, it's not that hard. You just got to make sure everything's categorized properly. I would hook your bookkeeper up with your CPA if possible, just to make sure that everything's set up the right way. Fortunately for me, my bookkeeper is also a CPA. I work for a big firm, so I pretty much, he's a CPA, but he's not my main CPA. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. But the firm, the guy who's like I don't know, it's a big company. He's a CPA, but he has his staff that does like all the bookkeeping and stuff. But he works hand in hand with them to make sure that everything's categorized and classified. But I would make sure if you're an eBay seller, an Amazon seller, that your bookkeeper and your CPA or your accountant has knowledge working with an inventory-based business, because that's really the cog in the wheel that confuses people. When I used to work with my father, he wasn't used to working with internet businesses, and certain things are classified differently in terms of tax rates, and some things you pay 1% sales tax on because it's digital, this and that. It's kind of confusing. So, I made sure that the people that I work with had experience working with online businesses, inventory-based businesses, and also had some knowledge, obviously, with your state's taxes and, laws and stuff like that, and digital products for me. So hopefully that answered your question. AJ says, if he's giving you financial reports, that's not a bad price. I'm an accountant as long as there's soft skills value in the price. Absolutely. And I get to, call him and, pick his brain every now and then. And he's, he pays all my sales tax for me and everything. So it's a pretty good little setup. For me, I just the way I used to do it, guys, is I used to have a poly bag. And every time I would buy something, I was buying with cash for the most part, when this was like 3-4 years ago. And I would have a poly bag marked maybe October, and everything that I would buy, I would stuff the receipt in this poly bag. And then like a month or two would go by, and I would go into GoDaddy bookkeeping. That's what I used for the longest time when it was just me and my business was small. And I would go and I would input all of my receipts, and then I would classify them under the correct category: cost of goods, office supplies, capital expenditures, the bigger items that, my accountant's going to want to know about because it's going to be depreciated over time, so on and so forth. So, you want to do some basic research in terms of how to categorize your stuff. I'm sure there's some videos. Where should you sell at? There's all different types of places: eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Poshmark, Etsy. Those are probably some of the most popular ones right now. I know, Mark. I was definitely going soft. I was on a budget, man, with those poly bags. Dab Kitty says, first time seeing you live. You have very helpful videos. Hey, thank you so much, Dab Kitty. I appreciate that. So that's about it, guys. I got to get rolling because I still got a lot of things I have to do. If you didn't see my video last night, you can actually get a bird's eye view behind the scenes of what I'm doing today. So usually on a Sunday, I like to kind of write out my whole entire week. Sometimes it's outcomes. Other times I really plan each day. So you can check out to see what I've been up to in that last video, or follow me on Instagram at Raiken Profit. I post a lot of personal behind the scenes stuff over there if you kind of want to get an insight into the entrepreneur life, because I'm doing a lot of things even outside of eBay and Amazon. So definitely check that out. But I want to say thank you guys for watching this video. If you enjoyed, smash that like button. It really helps get these videos out. It makes me feel good, lets me know I'm doing a good job, and motivates me to want to keep making more videos for you all. So with that being said, thank you so much. House of Mini Trucks in the house. Thanks for watching. iShop, appreciate it. Mike, Farm Girl, hearts. I love it. That's a pretty heart right there. Thank you so much. Anna's, thank you. You're a great girl. Appreciate you guys so much. Have a great day and keep on picking to making that money. And I'll see you in the next one.